Well, good evening and welcome to the stream. We're going to do some classic art Bell this evening. We're going to do some Terra pictures. Also, we're going to have a little background stuff going, some throwback VHS. We have in the background, we're going to have something called Dreams, which is a throwback. So let's see what this is all about. Let's do a art bell push. Let's have some VHS visuals in the background, and let's try to get some beats going. So enjoy the stream.
Okay, so you're flying around, huh?
Yes, I am. Thank you. It's been quite a hectic year. I'm on the last leg, as you mentioned earlier, and look forward to retiring.
And so that will be the end of generally the public life of Robert Morningsky.
Um, yes, I say that with a measure of sadness. I'm very proud of what we have done in the short year. I will honor a few engagements that take us beyond February the 1st through the United States and then in Germany. But the pace has been horrendous. We did 45 lectures and workshops in 48 weeks. I have 3 more to go in the last 4 weeks. And the response, and I'm very, very pleased and very honored to have the kind of response we've had from the general public. Duncan Rhodes in Australia, he's the publisher of Nexus magazine, was extraordinarily kind to us over there a couple of years ago. I would like to count him as a friend. It was through his encouragement that we actually decided to speak out in the United States. And so, come February the 1st of 96, with great pride and again a measure of sadness, I will retire. It is time. I have done everything I could to fulfill a promise to my grandfather, and the time has come to rest.
All right. Then let me ask you this. Why are there not more in your shadow? Why are there not more Hopi Indians? Why are there not other Indian nations that speak out publicly the way you do, or that are people that speak out publicly? And I'm sure there are some, but frankly, I haven't heard of them. And so what's going on?
Well, there are absolutely good reasons. Now, let me just begin by correcting a very common misconception, and I want to make sure that people understand that Duncan Rhodes has made an error in his quote, and several other people have in their comments about me. I am Native American, I am Hopi and Apache, full-blooded. I am not, however, a medicine man, a shaman. I'm not an elder, never have claimed to be anything of that sort. And I want to stress that I speak only for myself. I do not speak for any nation.
For the whole nation. No, I understand that. I'm simply asking you why there aren't more Robert Morningskys out there.
Okay. Perhaps the simplest explanation is to say that in the history of the relationship between the world in quotation marks and the Native Americans, history has not been kind to Native Americans. And I'm generalizing here, but as Native Americans, our upbringing revolves around star beings. It revolves around descent from the stars. I would go so far as to say that the Māori in New Zealand, the Aborigines in Australia have similar stories. And our cosmogony, our belief system, our way of life revolves daily around the existence of star beings and those who have assisted us and have been with us all this time. The problem is that for some reason, and I don't know why, the civilized world, researchers, writers, people who I believe have good intention, when they hear or heard the stories 50 years ago, 100 years ago about star beings and that type of phenomena, it was attributed to the smoking of some grass. It was attributed to the myths and legends of a primitive people, the arrogance of a civilized world that puts down what has been labeled a primitive world. It's become a bad habit. One of the things that I found on this tour in the last 11 months is that while I'm not sure how to describe them other than the higher ups, some of the researchers, some of the scientists, some of the establishment scientists, I hate to use that 60s word, are reticent to acknowledge the existence of star beings. Obviously, we've been suffering with the Roswell phenomena for 50 years now, and we're only now beginning to get evidence and are rewarded with another effort by the military and the government to say no, that in fact it's not a new fantastic balloon, but it's some sort of a new, at that time, highly specialized disc. So Native Americans have not had a good time, and I would count other primitive peoples in this comment. We've not had a good time in trying to tell our stories and our legends. One of the things that I have tried to say so many, many times is that most of the reported crashes of discs that have occurred, particularly in the late 40s and early 50s, most of them occurred on or near Indian reservation lands. And we have always found it amazing that very well-meaning researchers, writers who go out and scour the countryside, somehow they have missed the point that Native Americans would rather live out under the night sky than, under a roof. That is part and parcel of our existence. We have, for hundreds, for thousands of years, lived in the outdoors. As a child, I remember being taken out by my grandfather to go sit on a hillside to watch the lights dance in the sky. It is astounding that somehow the UFO research community, I mean, the very, very, the truth seekers, somehow at that point have this.
Well, all right, let me stop you there and say, when I asked the question, here is the spirit in which I asked it. Americans are now rapidly reaching 50 years of age, about 10,000 a day, the baby boomer generation. The baby boomer generation is becoming far more spiritual by the day as they get older. And it's not a particularly structured spiritualism, but very non-structured, very much like the Native American traditions. We also are becoming much more conscious. We've heard around much as Native Americans have always been. So, to me, it would make sense that the baby boomers would reach out to people like you. And if you're not going to be there anymore, then there ought to be others.
Well, you're absolutely correct in what you're saying, because in the last 11 months, what we did discover is that, the description, the average man, the average woman, those of us, and I include myself in that, who are not part of the in-the-know community or the powerless, that in fact we all really do have common desires, goals, and we are reaching for spirituality. The problem is that so many other Native Americans that I am familiar with who have extended a hand end up getting exploited end up getting used. Their teachings are turned around for the wrong reasons. I mean, one of the phenomena for Native Americans that I think that portrays this is the gambling casinos that are popping up on reservations. I speak again only for myself, and I'm sure I will get in trouble for it, but I believe that's probably one of the worst things that has happened to Native Americans.
Might I ask why? In other words, in the coverage that I've seen, it may well be, just orchestrated television. They say that gambling brought to reservations money, housing, an economy simply did not exist previous to gambling. Very positively portrayed. Now, maybe by those who want gambling there, I don't know. But you've got the opposite reaction. Why?
Yes, because though I agree that for the most part it probably has put money into the economy of the reservation, but as I understand from other elders and from those that I have spoken to, the average reservation take, so to speak, is about 10% of the money generated. The bulk of the funds seems to be going towards the management companies, which are almost always not reservation group or a company is something that is off reservation.
No, I understand the casinos, and they don't.
Yeah, right. And so I have, again, my personal opinion, I have a problem. I believe that, boy, those casinos are bringing in some money. I wish that there was another way to do that. It is an example I would suggest of Native Americans who, I don't know if it was the idea belonged to one of us. I don't know if it came off the reservation, but it's an example of exploitation. It is good, but I think it could have been a lot better had Native Americans stuck to their guns and done it themselves.
Well, of course, that requires a whole lot of capital. Something they didn't have, so I guess
that's the sadness. That is again, without dwelling on it for a long time, that is one of the reasons that the circuit tour that I'm doing will be ending. It's costly. It's very difficult to maintain the pace and to continue. And funding is just, I'm sure everybody that's listening understands that funding is very difficult. And I wish that the response of the civilized world, the powers that be, would be just a little bit kinder to Native people.
Do you think it will change the nature of reservations in a negative way? Aside from the positive aspect of more money floating around. Will it subvert culture?
Oh, I think so. I think so because, unfortunately, though, money is, and I hesitate to say a necessity, but it is something that is crucial to survival in the system that exists. It also begins to pervert the values. Why should a young Native American man or Native American woman on the reservation, why should they pursue becoming a singer, a dancer, an artist, and somebody who continues the tradition of weaving baskets or doing paintings, when they can go to a local casino and become a cocktail waitress or a blackjack dealer and make infinitely more money? And I can understand the survival of it. It's just, unfortunately, my belief again only that it will pervert the traditional values.
Could it be so serious that you suppose, Robert, eventually the Indian nations, as we know them, and the reservations as we know them, will simply disappear into America's new culture?
Well, the tragedy is that it's already occurring. There are many, many tribes on the eastern seaboard who are not familiar with their traditions, who don't know the old ways, who have lost their songs and dances. They were incorporated into the American concept 200 years ago. Here in the Southwest, they are relatively intact because we have not had that much contact. Arizona became a state only some 80 years ago in 1912. So our values here are relatively intact, but in the East Coast, there are tribes who have been swallowed up and who really don't have a sense of their Indianness. I was just recently asked to go to Seattle to speak to some children on a reservation up there. And in the Northwest, the same thing is occurring. The values of being a warrior, the values of standing for for something regardless of the odds against you. They're being lost to a regular paycheck, a fast car, and a CD player.
No, I'm sure it's true. What is the blue kachina?
Well, the blue star kachina is one of the most fascinating of all the kachinas in the Hopi way of life. A kachina has three forms. It is the spirit of the things that are around us. It is the spirit of the wind, the trees, the plants, the animals. The kachina is also the dancer, a human being who dances, personifies, dresses, and becomes the spirit. And then you have the third variation, which is the actual carving, carving that represents a three-dimensional form. The blue star kachina is perhaps one of the most mysterious. There is not a great deal of information on the blue star kachina. His name is Nangatsoku. It's sometimes called the chasing star or the meteor kachina, but one of the most dramatic aspects of the carving of the meteor is that it has a four-pointed black star on its face. The rest of the face is blue. There is a long, trailing headdress of feathers that go down its back and trail down onto the floor. And it is said that this represents the long tail of the meteor of the blue star.
A couple of amateur astronomers, one named Hale and one named Boston, one, as a matter of fact, from Arizona, have discovered this thing out beyond the orbit of Jupiter called now Hale-Bopp. It's coming this way, will miss Earth, they say, by 1 to 1.5 AU or astronomical units. Is it possible, everybody wants to know, Mr. Morningstar, whether that might be blue kachina?
Well, I'm going to stick my neck out and suggest that should the data that I have seen be accurate, that in fact it very likely is, and that, again, let us set the apple cart on the reservation a little more and suggest that I believe that there are several Hopi prophecies that are being fulfilled by the appearance of this comet, and that in the papers that I have recently released and will elaborate on in the last three appearances, the blue star kachina, Nangatsoku, is very likely the comet Hale-Bopp. What is most curious, and sir, if you would allow me, you are so kind, Art, to allow me to have his last interview, a gift from me to you, because I was going to save this for California. But there is a Hopi prophecy tucked away. It can be found. It is in several books that are out there, and the prophecy says that the blue star kachina, Nangatsoku, does not appear individually. It always appears in pairs. There is another prophecy that says that in the time of the end of the world cycle, this last cycle, there is a grand white brother that will appear. His name is Bahana or Pahana, depending on the accent of the individual. Pahana, the great white brother, will appear at the end of the cycle.
I wonder how Zachariah Sitchin would pronounce it. Robert, we're at the top of the hour, so you can take the rest and think about that one, and we'll be right back to you. Robert Warren, and you said it portends the arrival of another.
Yes, sir.
And when the other arrives, I think I was at the point of asking you how Zachariah Sitchin might pronounce it. Is it the rogue planet that Zachariah Sitchin imagines is going to come back?
I believe so. Zachariah Sitchin is, I would consider one of the most unrecognized scholars. His work is absolutely fantastic. I wish I'd had it when I was in college years ago. But the name which he assigns to the 12th planet, to the Black Rogue, is Nibiru. What is most interesting about Nibiru, a Sumerian term, is that I suggest it's directly related to an ancient Egyptian word for the sun disk, or the Aten, which in fact was called Neb-Heru. Neb-Heru literally meant Lord of the Sun. And then if we refer to one more ancient society in ancient Babylon, the guardian and protector of the skies of a city called Lagash, was named Ningirsu. And I'm again going to suggest that Nibiru, Nebiru, Ningirsu, and the Hopi Nangasohu, the Blue Star Kachina, are all one and the same. And that, again, should the data of the Hale-Bopp comet be accurate, and at this point I'm relying on it, has every appearance of being the visitor that we will see in early 97. Hopi prophecy, however, if is accurate, Hopi prophecy suggests that approximately 7 years later, we will be visited by its second older big brother. The curious phenomena of Hale-Bopp, if the Hopi prophecies apply, I am going to suggest that there will be a blue face, a blue corona, a blue aura. There will be some blue factor to the appearance of Hale-Bopp. And Big Brother, which will appear in about 7 years after 97, will probably have a white face. It will have a white aura or a white corona.
And when it gets here, as in the MASH song about suicide bringing on many changes.
Well, I don't think it's a time for suicide on the other hand. Some people might
No, I wasn't it will bring with it many changes.
Absolutely, and we are, I believe, already beginning to witness these changes. I bow to the words of the gentleman who I have a tremendous amount of respect for, who calls it marketing. I believe that many things are going to be happening, not just the earth changes that everyone is talking about and making predictions about, but also changes in mankind itself. That there will be a speeding up of events and biological processes. The thing that this last year on the tour is that women will find that their monthly cycles will shorten. They're going to find that the pregnancy stages are going to quicken. I'm going to also suggest that we're going to find some anomalous changes in the actual birth of children. We have already, for example, on the reservation, begun to witness the birth of children with 6 fingers, with 6 toes. These are not just a useless appendage, but a fully functioning, unrecognizable 6 finger. And
you're giving me a lot of news here. I've not heard a word about this. Where has this begun to occur?
This has been reported on the Navajo Reservation, which is in the Four Corners area here in the Southwest. My understanding is that there are some reports like this in Alaska. I will be happy to contact individuals and have them forward this to you, but I don't have them right here on hand, but I will have them faxed to you. But there are reports of 6-fingered children. I have photographs of some children. One that was born in the United States, not to a Native American family, but the granddaughter of a very, very close friend. And I promise you, it is unrecognizable, as a 6-finger. You simply would have to be looking carefully in order to see it.
All right, well then we have to talk quickly about Roswell or Socorro, whichever it was, and the Santilli footage with the 6 digits, fingers, and on the feet.
That's correct, sir. And again, there is, believe it or not, I suggest a link between the Hale-Bopp comet, its return, the surfacing of the film of the 6-fingered figure in the Santilli tape. I just today received a fax from Mr. Hesseman and Mr. Santilli, and there is most definitely a link between the birth of children with 6 fingers and 6 toes with the surfacing of the Santilli tape, which shows the 6-fingered hands and 6 toes. And I will also again refer back to the ancient societies back in Egypt and Samaria, where the numbering system was based on 12 and not 10. I can only suggest that's a very curious coincidence that a 12-numbered system was used by the ancients. We have a 12-fingered being who was autopsied in that film that Mr. Santilli provided us. And again, with the birth of 6-fingered or 12-fingered, 12-toed children, and this is going to, I could again suggest, is going to happen.
Actually, it was not one, but it was 2 films, I believe, of 2 separate autopsies.
That's That's right.
both with 6 toes. And you say, I'm sure you're familiar with the secular phrase hiding in plain sight. Are you trying to tell us that these people, the star people, if you will, are with us now?
Yes, right. One of the most important aspects of what I have been trying to suggest all year on the tour and we'll finish with is I am trying to provide documentation, ancient sources, contemporary sources, and suggest to the world that the gods and devils of mankind and those that we spoke of in ancient legends and all the ancient civilizations spoke of, that not only did they certainly sacrifice and there's a book out there, Prince of the Gods, Mythology to the Authors, not recall the name, I just used it copy. There are numerous authors who are writing down the ancient ones in the sky, star beings who have either interfered with or guided them, let their choose the word. And here, for example, all of these authors share the stories, the research, and the material they're providing to be true. And the question that has to be asked is, where are they? And I simply suggest to everyone that not only are the stories true and they were here, but they are still here now. And if they are hiding in plain sight. They are not little green men. They are not these enormous-headed, big-eyed creatures with green, scaly skin. If the ancient stories are true, if Zacharias Sitchin and his material is accurate, and what I'm trying to portray is accurate, we are the descendants of these star beings. And so all I can say is we don't see them because they look like us.
Yeah, that's hiding in plain sight. All right.
Absolutely.
What bothers me or affects me or makes me think more than anything else that there is something to all this is not just my own observation as a talk show host of what I'm calling the quickening. But I've interviewed Stitchin, I've interviewed Gordon Michael, I've interviewed actually just about all of the big prophets and soothsayers of our time. And it's not any individual one of them that affects me, but it is collectively their message, which along with your message and all the rest of the others, almost all say the same thing. They may come at it from different perspectives, one with visions, one with this or that, you with your ancient knowledge or knowledge that is ancient, I suppose I should say. All of it collectively points toward the same next few years. So I guess I would ask you, is it possible, do you think we're all experiencing collective millennium madness, or is it really coming?
No, I think that it's absolutely going to make its appearance in the next few years. The changes, certainly if we look at the earthquake phenomena, the numbers of the quakes, the intensities has increased. It's geometric in its number.
I know.
And perhaps, again, the best analogy that I can use is that of a roller coaster. We are all participating in a roller coaster, whether one deems it the Earth or the universe. But we have crested the hill. We have reached the last quarter, and it's all a downhill rush to the very end. As this occurs, as we come speeding down off that last hillside, there are many people who are going to be frightened by the quickening. They're going to be frightened by the speeding up of the event. Some of them are going to want to bail out. On the other hand, there are some who will enjoy the ride. There are those who will toss their arms up in the air and let out a great big yell, and we're going to enjoy as this particular ride comes to an end.
Which group are you in?
I'm going to throw my arms up, I'm going to bow out, and I'm going to dance. And not predicting the end of the world, about its doom there. I believe that the world as we know it will change. Yes, there are going to be some very interesting things that are going to occur. Perhaps the most dramatic is that the light switch is going to get turned off and no one can turn it back on. The question is, can an individual survive without electricity? And that's a very, very real question that we have to answer. The world will change.
It's interesting because in a lot of parts of the world, they do it every day on a regular basis with no problem. Here in America, the electricity goes off. Just about everything we use to function in life stops.
Exactly.
I've got a fact here, Robert. See, I'm sure you'll agree with this, or maybe you won't. On why there aren't more Native Americans speaking out as your guest, Robert Morningside, is because most are perceived in an ill light. Look how most are portrayed as alcoholics who need the government to survive, or in movies as some kind of superstitious simpleton. My wife is Navajo. While she doesn't know a great deal about her heritage, her dad does. He regales us with tales of the lore of the Navajo and the strange occurrences in the San Luis Valley in Colorado. They are their art. It's just that they tell those who will listen. That's from John in Morgan Hills.
Oh, I absolutely agree. That's absolutely correct. It's interesting to be on the circuit and to hear individuals who claim to be searching for the truth or looking for data, and yet when we begin to tell the stories, I'm not sure why the reaction is as this gentleman has said, but he's absolutely correct. They just simply do not listen. The wonder, however, of this last year for me has been that I have found that people at this time, and I'm not sure why, but they are listening. I think we are bonded from long, long ago. There is a difficulty when I speak with other elders because they're concerned that when I speak of these things that perhaps those who are not Indians will not understand. But I have a problem with that. I believe a warrior is someone who has the type of heart. And even in the Native American, someone who has the type of blood. And so I really do believe in the warriorhood of mankind. I really do believe that we can handle the quickening and the changes that are coming. And I really believe that if the higher up, if the powers that be would leave us alone, I don't believe we have half the problems that we have on this world today.
Many of the prophets that one might speak to would suggest that these coming changes that we all seem to know are coming can either be lessened or modified or negated altogether by human behavior. Is that your belief?
I think so. I think that, again, at any given moment, we have the opportunity to make a change, both as an individual and as a whole. The problem that I have is believing that we will be able to get together with a common direction. Unfortunately, we have too many, again, powers that be, from institutions that are oriented towards religion or education or economic sources, bankers or politicians. The institutions are the ones that are really
Possibly passive with no return. Yeah, Robert, hold on. We're at the bottom of the hour. We'll be right back to you, Robert Morning Sky. More in a moment. Once again, Robert Morning Sky, are you there?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. How about a few phone calls?
Yes, sir.
All right. Just before I pick up the first line, I've got a fax here from somebody who simply asks, one of the most important elements of your work, Mr. Sky's work, Morning Sky, is your translation or translations of Orion and Cirrus words. Please ask him about these words, the ones covered in your papers.
Are we talking about the decipherment of the Angelic?
I believe so, yes.
Well, with a good, I'm surprised at the abilities of your listeners. I have, in just the last few weeks, received from Michael Hesseman, in a speaking about at a conference there, a copy of the film that Ray Santilli released on the autopsy of the alien being. I was caught by the hieroglyph, the figures that appeared on the beam in the wreckage and debris segment.
The I-beams.
The I-beams, that's correct. As a Native American in my research, I've always been fascinated with petroglyphs and the stories that they tell.
Sure.
And when I actually actually saw this first videotape, I was absolutely caught up in what they might represent. They had a vague familiarity with it, but the video copy that I had originally received from a friend from the Fox production was not very clear. Michael Heston's tape, however, and I have to thank him greatly for it, was much clearer. And when I saw the film, I used a VCR to create some stills, and I immediately went to some alphabet charts that I had been constructing over the last 30 years since I began the linguistics breakdown of languages in college in the late 60s. And I know that this sounds relatively outrageous, but by very carefully analyzing the possible path of the characters, I was actually able to come up with a translation. I submitted to people, and certainly you, my friend, were one of them, and I am offering what is a suggested translation with what is on the iTeam. I received a match today from Mr. Hessman, Mr. Santilli. I'm very pleased with the results. They're sending me some additional footage and skills, which I have not seen. And, all right, well, I can't see it. Can you tell us? I believe you're holding a copy of the glyph, and so what I will answer in this regard, the translation appears to be very much along the lines of what we might find on a marine poster, on a Navy ship somewhere, essentially without revealing the exact information, because I want to reserve that for Los Angeles next week in my last appearance there. Essentially, it says that the beings of the ship are ready, they're aware, and it identifies them, in fact, as a female warrior. That's about how close as I can get.
Gee, with your opening comments, I would have translated that to mean the Star People want you. Kind of like the old Uncle Sam with his finger pointing at you to recruit.
Right. Well, my apologies of this translation, the decipherment that we came up with after studying the linguistics breakdown, in fact, is more of a separate data, Marines ready and prepared, that kind of situation.
Oh, and that's. This is the end of side one. Please leave the. Let's go to the phones. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Morningsky. Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
All right, where are you, sir?
My name is Kirk. I'm calling from Santa Ana.
Santa Ana, all right.
Yeah, I have a question. There's a comet floating out there in the cloud. At least that's what astronomers say. There's this big cloud of comets floating out there that periodically get nudged out and they drift into the solar system. What makes you guys think that this particular pair of comets that was recently discovered, you say, in this Kachina?
Oh, all right. First of all, we discovered, to the best of my knowledge, one comet, and that is Hale-Bopp. But the question is a fair one. With respect to that comet, why that one?
Well, I am reliant upon the data and the information that is given to me by other researchers. Again, I want to stress, I am not a physicist, an astronomer. I am basically no one. I am an average man. I'm a dancer by profession. I am simply addressing the Hopi prophecies and some ancient cultures, and simply saying that should the data that is being provided be accurate, and in fact it does fulfill Hopi prophecy and many of the stories of ancient society. So the listener, or the person who just called in, my apologies to Kirk Agua, that should the data be incorrect, then in fact the prophecies and what I had spoken about would not be correct. I am dependent upon scientists and astronomers and the data that they provide.
Good answer. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Morningsky. Where are you calling from, please?
Ohio.
Ohio. All right. Welcome to the program. Is it snowing in Ohio, or has it stopped?
No, it's snowing.
It's snowing. All right. Get good and close to your phone and speak up good and loud for us, sir.
Okay. I've been listening to you, and I just want to explain something or warn you maybe. You remember Lot was in Nineveh, the city of Nineveh, and two angels went to visit him, and he told them that they better get out of the city of Nineveh.
Yes.
And he went in and he shut the door. Lot went in the house.
Yes.
And he shut the door behind him. The angel shut the door.
Yes, sir.
And all the people were blinded. And what that's a picture of is they wanted to know Lot in a spiritual adultery relationship. They wanted to know Christ. And by doing it, they blinded the multitude. And what's happening today, the people in the world are becoming spiritually blinded from the truth. God has set them a strong delusion that they believe a lie. And it's sad, it really is, because you think it's the truth, but you're really following a false gospel.
All right. Let me get your reaction to that, Robert. That is, of course, a devout Christian. And he is politely scolding you and me and all of us for even talking of such matters. How do you generally respond to people who approach you that way?
With a great deal of respect, and again to this gentleman, I did not hear his name. I absolutely respect his position and his word. What it is that he wishes to believe in. I have no problem with that. I can only hope that I am accorded and that you are accorded the same privileges. The wonder of this country is that it should be tolerant of all beliefs. And so I cannot begin to portray this gentleman's belief system as inaccurate or wrong.
It's interesting, Robert. Our nation constitutionally absolutely respects all of these different belief systems and allows for them and protects them, as a matter of fact. But the individual religions don't, nor do they have to. And so they are very narrow, very structured. And if you are not within those particular bounds, you're not going to be respected. And he did it politely.
Yes, absolutely. And I've got to say that there are elders on the reservation that have scolded me in a much more colorful and dramatic fashion. So I thank the gentleman for the way that he put it. But again, as I said, I respect his position, and I hope that he allows us to express our position.
All right, good. Let's continue to do that then. First time caller line. You're on the air with Robert. Morning Sky. Hello.
Hi, my name's Maureen, and I'm calling from Washington.
Hi, Maureen.
Hi, I wanted to know what's the best way that we can prepare for potential danger?
Oh, now that's an awfully good question. Robert, the best way to prepare for what's coming.
Well, let's not put Robert on the spot here for a moment. Let me, number one, mention that I will be in Seattle, Washington at the end of January. I'm holding a 2-day intensive workshop, and we're going to address precisely that. A very quick answer is simply this. In the workshops and in the material that I am presenting, I'm trying to explain it. If I were to ask this lady to describe a bear, she might very well suggest that the bear is a very gentle and passionate beast of nature. If I asked Art Bell what is the bear, he'll say, well, it's a nasty evil carnivore that bites you the best of any turn around. And so the question, I think, is what is the truth? We know ourselves truth is a carnivore. We know that slave's truth is a gentle beast of nature. The truth is that somewhere in between. It's a combination of the two. My suggestion in all of my research and workshops and lectures and papers is that the truth is the bear. And I suggest that what we need to do is to sort through all these beliefs, set them aside, and address what we know, what we absolutely know. In the Terra papers of the first book, what I am trying to suggest is that star beings, those that are out there, do not have a religion per se. They do not have a belief system. They have a system based on knowing. The stars are a certain way, the planets are another way, the human physiology, the star being physiology is a certain way. A belief system is unique to mankind. And I do not want to take anyone's belief system away from it, but I can only suggest a very quick answer is to search for love there.
All right. Well, a very quick response would be, yeah, but if you're wrong, it'll bite you in the butt for sure.
There are days it's going to bite you in the butt, and it's going to lick you on the cheek. And that is, the idea that a truth is universal and unchanging is one of the things that is going to be very difficult to deal with. Truth change, the bear changes daily.
Yes, sir. On the Wild Card line, you're on the air with Robert Morningsky. Hello.
Hi, this is Jim from Oregon City.
Hello, Jim.
Listening to you on Como 1000 tonight.
That is piling in there.
Yeah. Anyway, I'd like to say hello to Robert Morningsky.
Right, he's right here.
Good evening, sir. How are you, sir? Good, sir. How are you? Oh, fine. I've made several trips down there to your area, and have met several people down there. And they're all talking about the same things that you speak about. And there's a question I wanted to ask you. How is everybody holding up after that freeze that you experienced back in June? The freeze that we experienced? Yeah, that's when the crops froze. Oh, on a personal level, I was very fortunate. I was on the road. I was not here. However, we deal with the cards that we are given. We will survive. It is one of those maxims that I think all primitive, the savage peoples of this world, I love the word savage, we adhere to is that regardless of the freeze, the heat, the drought, or the famine, that we will endure because we are not dependent on the light switch on the wall.
No, but we are dependent on Mother Earth.
Absolutely.
And I know that Native American peoples believe that Mother Earth is, in fact, a living organism. Is that going too far, or is that about right?
Oh no, that is again part of the very basic existence daily. Mother Earth is a living thing. She is teeming with life. She does take a breath. She grows. There are parts that are regenerated. And I would suggest, along with other Native Americans who have gone out, that Mother Earth is in pain. She is crying. She is hurting.
That's what I was going to ask you. If you were to describe Mother Earth's present attitude, what you just did, you would say she is in pain.
Oh, she's in great pain. She is shivering. She is shaking. And I hope, as part of the answer to the lady just a moment ago, that we need to take care of Mother Earth, because in fact we are dependent on her. The light switch is not anywhere near as crucial as the fresh air and the water. We have a legend from long ago that says that the Great Spirit converted the most beautiful woman in the universe, and he changed her into Mother Earth. Her hair became the grass, her blood became the rivers, her bones became the very stones themselves. And we are all descended and born of Mother Earth, and we need to take care of her as we take care of our own mothers, our own grandmothers, our daughters, and our wives. And it's absolutely vital. One of the answers to the previous question was we have to be aware that Mother Earth is in pain.
Robert, I don't know where I got it. It just came from inside. But you said something a little while ago that stood the hair up on the back of my neck. You said we're on a downhill slide. I have said, when I refer to the quickening, that we have passed the point of no return. And to me, that personally does not mean that the world is going to end. I keep saying it so people understand it. But it means to me that we are going to go on to whatever is next. And there is going to be a change. And that it seems to me, or at least I guess I've concluded, that it is unavoidable.
And I absolutely agree. I think one of the things that, in my very, very brief encounters with you, sir, impresses me is that many times when you speak, a few times that I've heard you've been able to listen to when I was on the road, I think many of the comments that you make come from deep within. I think many of your listeners, I think the reason that they're listening is because it strikes the chord deep within. The answers are and we just need to recognize them. But I absolutely agree with you. There is the end of the world as we know it, meaning the systems, the institutions, and the ways in which we punish ourselves. Those will change, but it is not the end of the world at all. On the other hand, I'm sure a banker on Wall Street would think it is the end of the world. You and I, I'm sure, will go out and powwow and we'll dance all through the night.
That's right. There are many worlds. Thank you for the kind words. Perhaps it would be summed up as I summed it up once when we did a what if, which of course everybody dragged out and changed as if to say that I said some comment was coming together. I didn't say that. What I did say was that if a comment should be coming to Hitler, I think that after considering it carefully, I would sit right here as long as I could and talk to you. Probably get a good observation post. And we'd all watch it come in together. That's a sort of a dance, I guess. You're on the air with Robert Morning Sky. Where are you calling from, please?
Hi, this is Mark from Honolulu.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Art and Robert. Hi, welcome, mister. It's good to talk to you again because I first met you several years ago when you did tours over in Australia with my friend Duncan Rose. Oh, yeah, sure. Duncan is a good man. Yeah, he is. And I was just wondering, though, that if any of in your historical background, with the Hopi or the Apache Indian, is there any indication, like, with this change, like what will come on is like a moving into another dimensional area where, let's just say that the world and the people as it is now are just in a wider space, while the third dimensional realm that we understand now stays here, so people can keep working out there.
All right, well, that's a long question and not much time to answer.
Let me try very briefly and dangerously oversimplify. Essentially, in the Southwest, the belief is that death is a transition, that the end of this cycle is again transition. I don't want to equate that with death, but that whatever it is that we are doing now, if you're a drummer, a dancer, a singer, an artist, a farmer, that's what you're doing.
Now let me give my guest an opportunity quickly to plug. What would you like to plug? If you could plug something, you've got the Terra papers. What would you like to plug, Robert?
Well, thanks very much, sir. For the opportunity. One, let me plug Art Bell and say that I'm very pleased to say that there are a few warriors on the quest for the truth, and I'm very happy to be able to know that Art Bell is going to continue with his quest. So I'm very honored. I will, for, again, the rest of the year for me until February 1st, I have the Terra papers, which is essentially the foundation of the research on the history of mankind, the hidden history of mankind. We are releasing next week's Los Angeles the report on hail bombs and tilly soils, the decipherment. People who would be interested in reaching my retirement phase, I hope to be able to be there to take people on mission quests and take them on expeditions into the canyon labs to show them some of the data they would use to put on their books. They can reach me at I have a phone number, area code 602-996-6324. And our fax number is area code 602-953-0129. And I invite those people to live in Edwards, my parents will in Los Angeles area next weekend. In Seattle, I'll be there the last weekend in January. My very, very final appearance, I intend to powwow and dance medley, will be in Austin, Texas, the second weekend of February. And
well, you are heard in all of the areas you just spoke of.
Oh, okay. Well, I invite everybody to come out and dance with me, and hopefully we make some sense with lectures and workshops, and we will toast our bell when we do this.
Robert, thank you. Jim Hunter, Eastern Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Morningstar. Hello.
Hi, good morning. Good evening.
Where are you, sir?
I'm from Flint, Michigan.
All right.
And I have a couple questions. One is, do Native Americans really think differently or have different ideas about things like success very apparent. Again, I hate to speak for anyone other than myself, but I think if you look at friends, books, material that is out there, it should be pretty evident that we do have a different perception of what success is. We don't measure it in terms of money, but in fact of moments of happiness and feeling proud. I know that people don't understand it when one of the things that we teach in the Warrior Way is that we should be able to wake up every morning and say, it's a good day to die. That does not in any way manifest a death, which what it says is that I have lived my life to its fullest. I have said I love you to those that I care about. I have done the best that I could and defended with honor the integrity of being a warrior. And so the perception of success, I can confidently answer that yes, but again, I bring myself. The other one is, well, I have some friends that like their wife go very recently. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry too. You want to run that one by again?
Well, they started going to sweat lodges, making hand crafts, so we just did American philosophy. And I was just curious what your opinion is.
All right. What he's saying is they're going hater.
Again, as I said earlier, to be a warrior, the type of heart to be a Native American Indian, the type of blood, contrary to what some elders have argued with me about. I do believe that there are warriors who are out there who have the genetic makeup what we consider to be a white man, a black man, and an oriental man. So they're going native. I will admit to a prejudice. I don't say powwow and dance and wear a feather tip.
All right. From Jody in Hawaii, Mark and Miss Morning Sky. I've heard of bringers of the light and other such extraterrestrials. Here on Earth, you stated that we are the descendants of the star people. The reason we can't see them is because they look like us. I'd like to take it one step further. It is possible we cannot see them because we are deaf.
Well, I would absolutely agree. I think that on an unconscious level in this reality, there are many of us who are experiencing the light. I think that much like the underground in Europe who was waiting for the signals on the BBC from the Allies, I think that there are some beings here who will recognize the signal, for example, be they hail bomb, the alien autopsy film, a crop circle. I believe that the signals are being sent and that some will awaken, and that in fact the premise that this lady is suggesting is I would absolutely agree with.
Let me ask you about crop circles. Crop circles have many of the same attributes, it seems to me, as some glyphs seem to have. Decipherable. Have you looked carefully at some of the better photography of crop circles? And if so, do you make anything of it?
Actually, our note continues to amaze me because he has anticipated one of the few people that I have met in my travels here, actually in the last couple of is one Busty Taylor, who is a photographer who works with Colin Andrews. I met Colin Andrews years ago in Australia. And I know that he's going to town, but at the end of January, my appearance in Seattle, I have invited Busty Taylor, who will be flying in for England. We will be presenting a 2-day workshop, and we're going to compare the petroglyph with opticals, and we will compare them to the Santilli hieroglyphs on that autopsy tape. So our you've anticipated precisely what we want to do at the end of the month in Seattle. So should anyone be interested in a comparison of petroglyphs, crop circles, and the Santilli hieroglyphs, I think it at all do it. We will be there in Seattle at the end of January.
Very good. Mr. Rockies, your turn with Robert Morningstar. Hello.
Yeah, it is Randy. Mark.
How you doing, Randy?
Okay, fine. I love your show, by the way. All right, thank you. And another question. Morningstar.
Morningstar.
I have two questions. Do you believe in angels? Also, I believe you're supposed to change into something coming up here in the next few years. Do you believe that this may be a change to a different spiritual body. Okay, in response to the first question, I do believe in angels, but I don't believe in the concept that is generally portrayed now as a glowing being with a halo and wings. I believe that there is a basis for this figure. Again, in the Terra papers that we wrote, we present an explanation of what the angels really are. So my answer, yes, I do, but not in the commonly accepted.
Can you give me a short version of what Robert Morton God believes an angel is? What is an angel?
There were essentially figures who assisted the Stargates to colonize the solar system and planet Earth. Zechariah mentioned refers to them as the Nephilim, the Anunnaki. The term angel is actually derived from two root words, Enki and El. Enki is essentially the Stargates who created mankind, and El is bringing the Lord. The Enki elves or the angels were those who assisted mankind to help in the development, education, and becoming more human. And so, yes, I do believe in them, but not quite in the fashion that is being portrayed. They are absolutely accurate, and I believe they exist today. I think they're starting to continue to motivate and assist mankind in achieving a different spirituality, a different level of consciousness.
All right. And by the way, for everybody out there, I have the most remarkable photograph of what is clearly an angel that you've ever seen in your whole life. And I want to make something very clear because I have received a couple of messages to the contrary. There is a fellow across town, retired FBI fellow, who has put up a bulletin board and is kindly carrying for us the files and photographs that we collect that are unusual that I would like to be able to share with all of you. There is no charge to go on that bulletin board one time each day to download a photograph. I urge you, if you have a computer, to go and download a photograph called angel.gif. That's angel.gif. And you can do it at the bulletin board. And as I said, I'll repeat this one more time, so I hope it's clear to all. You absolutely can go on there, member or not, free of charge, one time per day. If you want to upgrade your status from there, it's fine. It'll cost you $2, $2, not very many. But one time per day is free, FREE, free. The number to call to get into the bulletin board is area code 702-727-1709. 702 area code 727-1709. And we're going to be talking more about that photograph, so if you can lay your hands on it, by all means, do so. And our phone lines west of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi, Robert, sorry. This is Todd in Bellevue, Washington.
Yes, sir.
I'm a Christian also, so I want to be respectful and say that I appreciate that you believe what you believe. And I wanted to ask, the Bible does teach that there will come a time that there will be, for better lack of term, a one-world religion where everybody will become more spiritual but no apparent specific religion. And that seems to be where we're coming to. That's why so many Christians believe it's the end time. And I wanted to ask if he believes there's a possibility that he has been deceived, because there are so many people that believe different things. Someone does have the truth, and obviously Christians believe they have the truth. Robert, you believe you have the truth. Is there a possibility you have been deceived?
All right, it is a wonderful, good question. And also a good one. Robert, I'm sure you've thought about it deeply.
Absolutely, and I'm sure that the gentleman realizes that if I did not acknowledge the possibility, then certainly I would be very, very foolish. Yes, it is possible, sir, that I have been deceived, as it is possible that you have and Art has. It is possible we all have. I believe that what we need to do is to really, down in our guts, we have the answer deep within. And I would actually probably agree with your opening statement that where we are going does probably lend itself to the concept of a one-world union. I just hesitate to use the term religion.
One worldview?
A common spirituality.
Well, what about a common governing body?
I have a problem with the word governing. I would prefer to use the word sharing, where you and I share, where Todd shares an equal responsibility in deciding the direction of the masses, I guess.
Are there too many of us on Earth?
Too many of us.
Yes.
I have been to powwows where there are 1,000 dancers on a football field, and that's probably the only time that I could say that there are too many of us because I'm selfish enough to want to dance. Are there too many of us on planet Earth?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that there are too many of us. Whatever numbers are appropriate for the time is what is occurring.
All right. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Morning Sky. Hello.
Yeah. Hi, Art.
Hi.
I'm calling from Carson City. My name's Marty.
Okay, Marty. Glad to have you.
Hi. I'd like to ask Robert a question in regards to the. Does he believe that there were other beings living on other planets, all the other planets like the moon, Uranus, Pluto, so on and so forth?
Close-in planets? All right. Robert?
Yes, our research and the materials that we have collected essentially support there was life planets. The two most obvious candidates, and I believe that time will show that there is or was life on these planets are those that we call Venus and Mars. Certainly the faith on Mars has to be a very, very strong argument for the existence of some sort of civilization on that planet.
I take it you have followed Richard Hoagland's work closely.
I have only just recently been introduced to it, and I'm going to suggest that the same kind of phenomena will be witnessed on Venus.
All right. Oh my. Well, that is an interesting prediction. Robert Morning Sky is my guest, and there's more if you'll stay right there. KVEG 840 Radio in Las Vegas is now carrying Dreamland live. And just to show you, they didn't tell us they were going to do it, but I notice these things. So KVEG 840, thank you. Now, we're about to go back to Robert Morning Sky, but I think you will enjoy the following facts. I know I did. It is from a man named Michael, and I guess up in Oregon. He says, "Dear Art, your guest and discussion tonight are very interesting as usual. What you said about how we react if we no longer had electricity reminded me of a pretty good story. It goes like this. A young bride was showing off her new home to her dear old grandmother. Of course, this included her very modern kitchen that was filled with electronic appliances and gadgets galore. After the full tour was complete, Grandma asked the young lady, if you had to give up all your modern appliances and conveniences except one, which one would it be? So the granddaughter thought for some time, finally replied, well, I guess the one thing I just couldn't do without would have to be my refrigerator. The grandmother smiled and said, honey, I'd pick running water any time. I thought you might enjoy that, Robert.
That's fantastic. Great story.
This is the end. Well, we've got a zillion people out there who would like to speak to you, so I guess it's onward and upward. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Morning Sky.
Art, Robert, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Where are you?
This is a Magic Christian calling from San Buenaventura, California.
All right.
Good trip, California.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Mr. Morning Sky, I'd like to know if in the Hopi traditions or prophecies there is anything that would correspond to a prophecy made several places in the Christian New Testament about what we have come to know as the rapture, the sudden disappearance of a great deal of people, human bodies off the face of the earth all right. In one instant.
It is an interesting question. Is there any corresponding legend at all?
No, I am not familiar with anything that is remotely close to that phenomena. That does not mean it's not there. Again, I don't want to speak for the elders or any Hopi individual, but I am not familiar with anything that is even close to that.
Good enough. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Morningsky. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Bell, Mr. Morningsky.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Morningsky, you were talking about a brother or something that's supposed to be 7 years after the common Hale-Bopp?
A relationship. Well, in other words, Hale-Bopp will portend the arrival of another. Where are you calling from, sir?
Utica, New York.
Utica, New York. Right. And your question is about, I presume, the other?
Right.
The other, I think, Robert, is roughly what Zachariah Sitchin refers to as the 12th planet.
I am suggesting that again, if the data is accurate, that this figure, this Hale-Bopp comet that is going to be appearing in 97, is very likely the 12th planet Nibiru. The Hopi prophecies that I am speaking of are about a figure called Ahana, the Great White Brother, which I think is a very loose translation. But I am suggesting that there will be a brother to Hale-Bopp, which will probably appear roughly 7 years after. Would it be a comet? Yes, sir. If Hale-Bopp is a comet, then the brother is a comet. Yes, sir. And is he larger? I believe it will be larger. Yes, sir. Well, there was a comet in 1811, and it was supposed to be reported to be about 1 million miles in diameter. Have you heard anything about that? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Well, that would be, I don't see how anybody could call that. Well, I guess it could be a comet. I suppose if something was in a rogue returning orbit, it would be called a comet no matter its size, but 1 million miles, oh my. What's first-time callers call area 702-727-1222. Hold it. Okay. We are not allowed to put last names on the air. It is but one rule that we must follow. So let's just have you give your first name only. Okay. And tell us where you are.
Oh, my name is Gregory. I'm from Norman, Oklahoma.
All right.
Yeah, and hi, Art. I wanted to ask Robert, this is going to sound really off the wall, but I think that you all mentioned Young's collective unconscious, and I read that about this alien ID from the Warrior Woman.
The glyphs, yes.
Well, what's really strange about that is that Young believed that UFOs were manifested from man's belief in them, and it's almost as if the I-beam would be like the structure of the female creativeness of the universe, and the warrior woman would be the collective unconscious. What does Robert think of that? I'm not quite sure I understand the thrust of what you are saying. I can only suggest again that the decipherment that we are offering to the research community, I do not know actually what its contents are. I am suggesting a translation which is much more innocuous. It's much more simple. It simply was addressing what a warrior woman might say. I am ready, I am prepared, that kind of thing. You may very well be correct. The problem that I have is that the videos and the slides I have seen do not show a complete, does not give us the context. It only gives us a couple of small pieces. Well, it would be sort of like the bones, or like the nargle, I guess, with shamanism, which they would be a part of the nargle. It's an interesting premise. I can see where we might be able to argue that. I just personally don't have enough of the beam hieroglyphs to really be convinced of that, though I think it's certainly a plausible idea that you presented. Perfect. Thanks a lot.
Right, thank you very much for the call, sir. And on our first-time caller line, you're on the air with Robert Morningsky.
Hi, Art. This is Mike in Montana. I've asked you several times in the past.
I'm sorry, Mike. Where are you?
I'm Mike in Montana.
Montana, all right.
Right, I've asked you several times in the past.
Yes, sir.
Robert, I have a question concerning Panaha, and in the past we had heard that Panaha was in fact a Tibetan people. I'm not attached to any viewpoint, but I'd like to know what you have to say about that. I have had several people indicate that they believed it was either the Tibetan people, the Aborigines, or possibly even the Dogon in Africa. I've also been exposed to at least one gentleman who claims that the Hopi have declared him as Bahana. Again, I simply don't believe that we are talking about a physical being. I think that we are talking about the phenomena Hail Bob, his brother. Certainly the possibility is that the translation speaks of a physical being, but the actual ancient Hopi, I do not believe so. That.
All right, so little time, so much to do. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Morning Sky. Hi.
Hi, yeah, earlier you guys were both talking about Mother Earth, and I just have to say that it's my feeling, actually my opinion, that there is no Mother Earth, that there is just a planet, which is a thing, and it is more or less a creation, but it should never be worshipped, because we should worship the Creator, God, not the creation or the creation process.
All right, let us find out if that is in fact what is worship. Robert, is the earth itself worshipped by the Hopi, by the Apache?
I am not familiar with any Native American peoples. I'm not familiar with any peoples, be the Aborigines, Zulu, Maori. I'm not familiar with any that worship Mother Earth. What we are saying is that we need to be respectful because we are part of its existence. I do not believe that it is just a thing. It is as real and alive to me as any human being. One of the problems I have, and again I speak for myself, is the arrogance of a civilized world that chooses what is alive and what is not. I just have a real problem with that. But in direct response to the question, no, we do not worship Mother Earth. We hold her in high regard. We hold her in as high regard as we do our brothers, our sisters, and our parents.
Well, that's an awfully good answer, and I'm glad the question came up, and maybe it will prevent it from coming up again, but I wouldn't depend on it. Robert, they're trying to catch you, and they're Christians, and it's all right. It's just, I guess in a lot of ways, I tire of it. I knew that you did not worship the earth, and thinking of the earth as a living thing is not the same as worshiping it as you would an idol, which is what he was suggesting in sort of a slightly flippant way, that you are idolizing a mere thing.
Right. Well, I would simply attribute his position to a place of ignorance. That is not a criticism or denigrates a gentleman in any way. It just comes from not knowing. But worship is not anywhere, not remotely close to you.
Not the right word. Not the right word. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Morning Sky. Hello.
Florida.
Glad to have you. Get good and close to your phone, sir. You're a little hard to hear.
Okay. I was wondering, that was a good lead-in from the other caller, does the French nuclear testing and all the other nuclear testing that we've done in the past, did that affect the Earth in a negative manner?
Well, that's a wonderful question. I'm glad you asked it because I was not have. Robert, we are exploding bombs. We did it. The Russians have done it. The Chinese have done it. The French have done it. For all I know, the South Africans have done it right now. The French are doing it in the Pacific.
Right, and I believe, I don't think anyone would have a problem understanding that we are changing the balance of Mother Earth, the natural growth and development. We are destroying the bones and the essence of what goes on inside. One of the things that the Hopi and the Aborigines in general accept is that as we treat our Mother Earth, so shall our mothers, our wives, and our daughters, so shall they manifest. In other words, I believe that Mother Earth is suffering internally. I am going to suggest that the women of our planet, our daughters, our wives, our mothers, are also going to suffer internally. Women are going to start having reproductive problems because Mother Earth is having problems reproducing herself. Those problems, which we begin to see in Mother Earth, the breakdown of the inner core, the breakdown of the air and the very blood, the water of Mother Earth, those breakdowns are going to be manifested in our women, and we're going to see more and more women having not only internal problems, but blood problems, reproduction problems, and bone problems.
Boy, does that make sense. I suppose old Indians don't die, they just dance away.
Quite well said, yes, sir. I intend to dance. Perhaps if you can call on your guardian angel, they might be able to entice it to come back. But I thank you very, very much for the opportunity to speak to you.
Robert Morning Sky is my guest. He is retiring. He is leaving public life. It is a sad thing because I would like to interview him again, though you never know what life holds.
Would it be possible for me to mention the LA conference? I just received a fax from the producer, and they're almost sold out. I'm very fortunate.
Yes, you may mention it. Go ahead.
They're in Los Angeles next weekend. We will be putting on a 2-day intensive. I don't want to spend time other than to give the phone number if I might.
Go ahead.
It's area code 818-355-9339. And then our final appearance with I'm very honored to have both Busty Taylor and Dr. Arthur Moore with me in Seattle. If people would like to catch that one, and that will be our last intensive workshop. Will be area code 206-763-3018. And thank you so much to you, to your listeners, and to you, sir, for allowing me to be with you and to express the ramblings and ravings of a renegade.
Renegade. Well, let's get just a couple more calls. We know that much. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Morning Sky. Where are you, please?
Curtis from Lexington, Kentucky.
Hi, Curtis.
Mr. Morning Sky, are you familiar with Mr. Jose Arguello?
I only know the name, sir. I do not know the work.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just wondering if you knew how hard to get in touch with him, if he gives interviews of any sort. I think that would be a good person to get in touch with.
Well, sir, if you could help me out.
He has some books with Barron Company. I think that's the latest publishing company.
That might be enough. I'll give it a try.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Morning Sky. Hello.
Howdy, Robert. This is Dennis Medford. I have a quick question for you on basically Earth awakening. Is there any in the Hopi history of the Earth and its pole changing axis?
Yes.
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, there is a story. One of the legends speaks of Spider Woman who has placed two twin grandsons, one at the North Pole, one at the South Pole, in the Northlands and in the Southlands. And the legends, and there are numerous legends, do speak of the changing of positions of the two twins several times. And I'm going to suggest that these legends that say the twins change places, in fact, verify and confirm the concept of a pole shift. I was just speaking myself. I know from the Comanche legend that the sun at one time did come up in the west and sat in the east. So that's correct. And there are several legends that do it. I think that's a very interesting concept out there. The North and South Poles, but the directions were reversed at some point.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, caller. First time caller line. Running out of time. You're on the air with Robert Morning Sky. Hi.
Oh, listen, I wanted to know the one of the Booster Katina. How does that relate?
Well, we've covered that extensively. It is the view of Robert Morning Sky that Hellbop may well be Blue Katina, Blue Star. Right, Robert?
That's correct, sir. Absolutely.
All right. Wildcard line. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Morning Sky. Hello.
Yes, congratulations for getting Robert Morning Sky on.
Thank you. Where are you?
Calling from St. Louis, listen to KSD.
Oh, yes.
Could you get Carlos Castaneda on, please?
We could try. Do you have any questions? Guess.
No, just to keep up the good work.
All right, thank you.
The blind man and the elephant parable applies very much to what he's talking about. The blind man and the elephant, everyone's between problems. They've got the whole elephant, but then they've got all of God. That's what all the religions of mankind are all about the Indians. They're always going in the right direction.
Well, that may well be. That may well be. And I'm sure it may be, Robert. Would you agree or disagree? There may be many paths to the same destination.
Oh, absolutely. Very, very much so. I mean, there's the highlands and the lowlands. Absolutely, sir, without a doubt.
All right. Let's see. Can we squeeze? East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Morning Sky. Where are you?
Edmonton.
Edmonds in Alberta, Canada. All right, one quick question, and then we gotta go.
Okay, just to ask if she has a word of wisdom for those of us on the path to higher spirituality.
Very simply, 3 words: pursue your passion. Whatever that is fire within you, pursue that, and the rest of it actually will all fall into place.
It's like saying follow your gut, follow your instincts.
Pursue your passion, yes, sir.
Gosh, which so many have said. Robert, it has been a pleasure, and in your public retirement as it comes, I wish you well.
Thank you very much, and thank you to your listeners and to you, and you've been very generous.
Thank you, my friend.
Take care again.